Hello again from Fired Up. I'm your host for the show, Bob Irwin. We're broadcasting from Rigel Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This show is about guns, related political issues, and self-defense. Fired Up is on our website, firedupwithbobirwin.com, and on the American Guns and Glory Network. It's also on YouTube and numerous other media. A new show is posted every Thursday at around 5 p.m. Pacific time. Our audio feed is rebroadcast for radio listeners Saturdays at noon on the Nevada Talk Network. You can find a station in your area by going to KELY1230.com, and they list all the stations there. There's around 20 of them, none of which at the moment are in Clark County. We're working on that. So there's a radio station out there that would like to carry this show. Give me a holler on my contact information. Questions and comments, you can send an email to bob@firedupmail.com. Again, that's bob@firedupmail.com, or leave a message on my office recorder. That's 702-257-1060. 702-257-1060. If you don't leave your contact number, I can't call you back. When you do, I'll respond by email, text, or telephone, whatever's appropriate for your call. Questions directed to my guest, Don Green, will be sent to him if you send them to me, but he'll give his own information here in just a minute. There are several hundred defensive uses of firearms every week in the United States, almost never truthfully covered by any mainstream media. We always present a few of those for our listeners' education. Most are good shootings. Some are questionable shootings or not, and sometimes or not. And sometimes they're just plain wrongful, but they're all educational to those of you who own a firearm, keep one at home, or carry with CCW or so forth. If you have a gun on the street, that's what this show is designed for. Individual instances are generally adjudicated under local law. The advice given here will not generally apply to listeners in different jurisdictions, and stories are often paraphrased for clarity by me translating police jargon, lawyer speak, and regional American accents into standard American language. The incidents are as reported, except we normally eliminate the names of the participants other than the attorneys and the police officers involved, but the players actually involved in the incident are usually left out of the story, their names. My guest today is my friend, California and Nevada attorney, Donald J. Green. Don, here we go again.
Good afternoon, Bob, and good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers. Again, my name is Don Green. I'm an attorney here in Nevada, but I also practice in California. For your information, it's dedicated almost exclusively to firearms and firearms-related type issues, whether it's a white-collar crime associated with a firearm, whether it's possession of stolen firearms, a representation before various federal agencies, state agencies. We also are available for consultation for businesses concerning licensing and legislation. We have a lot of probable lawsuits coming up at the first of the year when the background check becomes legal. But if you'd like, you can give me a call at area code 702-409-8239. That's 24 hours a day. As Bob points out, and Bob had a very special call last week, I believe, where the caller had called on numerous occasions but did not leave the phone number. So make sure that you leave your phone number. We'll get back to you. We've had some people who have called and they say, please call me back. We don't know. We can't get the number because sometimes it does or does not register on our cellular. Thanks.
Okay. I would add a note here for Don Green. If you have a regulatory problem, they don't want to issue your concealed carry permit because of some misunderstanding about your background, and they won't issue your FFL. They don't like the location you want to put your business. This is the man right here.
Thank you.
Trying to get a general use attorney to handle that. This is a guy who does this. Believe me, I've watched him do many, many saves. This first story comes from Fox News 13 and Bay News 9 in Tampa, Florida, reported on August 31st, Halloween, in nearby Lithia, Hillsborough County Hillsborough County deputies responded to a 911 call just after 9 p.m. in the 100 block of Old Welcome Road. That sounds picturesque. The residents, a man and a woman, said two men broke into their home, making demands. The intruders attacked the male resident, beating him with a pistol. That's when the female resident retrieved a gun and fired a shot. She hit one of the suspects. Both suspects then fled the home. The wounded man fell into a nearby ditch. When deputies arrived, they found one suspect dead in the ditch on the side of the road. The second suspect, leaving his partner, as they do, ran away and is still being sought as of the time of this show. Major Frank Lostat with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office told media, "I would encourage if any of these neighbors see any suspicious vehicles or anybody walking around the neighborhood that they do not recognize, please call 911. Do not approach this person as they might be armed. If any vehicles are sitting on your driveway that does not look familiar, please call us." Investigators believe the break-in was a random home invasion, but they don't believe it was a random home invasion, I'm sorry, but rather the couple was targeted for some reason, which we don't know as yet. Anybody with information is asked to call the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office at 813-247-8200. Whatever the reason for this particular home being targeted has left this household, had this household not been armed as a result, they would have likely been two murders instead of just a break-in. The High Capacity Magazine, pistol grip and raised sights and shoulder stock gave the resident, she had an AR-15, I left that out, that was the point, gave the resident an advantage against multiple intruders. Her practicing, which they actively both went out and shot, gave her even more ability to respond to this attack. Mr. Green.
Okay. Bob, is in with last week's show, we had a break-in of a home in a semi-rural area in Indiana or Illinois about 3 a.m. And my comments today are very similar. 3 words again: In Cold Blood. Very famous movie and with Robert Blake and a best-selling book by Truman Capote. Okay. Number one, the woman, the female, clearly was threatened. It was her house, shared with the man who was being attacked. And although she wasn't being pistol whipped, her partner, her roommate, her husband, or whatever, there was still the fear of great bodily injury or immediate death. Because it says that the male, 2 men broke in to attack a male and a female at their home. So she could articulate that. And what I mean by articulate, joint home. It was immediate. She had to take action. So most police departments, even possibly in California, assume it wasn't an AR-15. It's going to be a good shooting. Now, and there was also the beating with a pistol, clearly a deadly weapon. Now, what we have here is this happened in the home when, presumably when the shot was fired, and the suspect who was shot was eventually ended up in a ditch dead. What happens if this was outside? What happens if they were in a park? Assuming, again, that you could have the AR-15 as a legal weapon in the park or just out in your yard. These are going to make critical differences. And as Bob pointed out in last week's show, and we're pointing out again today, just because the facts of the situation are on this show doesn't mean that your situation is identical. You always have to check with local laws, as Bob always points out at the beginning of this show. Now, again, look at the time. It's 9 o'clock at night. These perpetrators are not collecting for the Red Cross. And as to why they were doing it, incident in question, or incident to associate this with. I had a client who won a rather large settlement through workers' compensation, 6 figures. And what did he do? He went to Costco or Sam's Club and bought like the largest big screen TV in the known universe, 85-inch, 75-inch. But what did he do with the box? He put it out, where, Bob?
In the trash in
in the
front of his
trash,
house.
trash day. And guess what? Modest neighborhood in Las Vegas. People are driving by. Looks like somebody's got a new 75-inch TV. Let's go check it out. And that's exactly what happened. And the perpetrators actually shot through the door. You remember this, Bob, around Christmas time, 2014, 2015. The perpetrators actually shot 45 semi-auto ACP through the door, grazing my guy. And my guy calls me. I'm actually on the phone, and although I wasn't a witness because they ruled it a justifiable shooting, but the thing is that I told him to get off the phone with me and call 911 because what's going to happen? You lawyered up before even in this fear. So where was your fear when you called your lawyer? So get off the phone. But in any event, so there's a possible motivation. So don't leave the crate for the 75-inch TV out. Tear it up, shred it, drive by an apartment, put it in their dumpster, far from your home. Make sure there's no address on there. You can use little things like that. Situational awareness. And I believe that these people were specifically targeted. So, moral for your listeners and your viewers, from an attorney self-defense point of view, from defending this woman, she did everything right. It doesn't look like they invited these people in or created a situation where it would invite crime.
I just have to comment on some of your comments. All shootings are unique. When we talk about individual cases here, your shooting is going to be different than anyone ever happened. They may be similar in the height and weight, but they won't be the neighborhood, they won't be the distance, they won't be the weapons involved, they won't be the background of the players, et cetera, et cetera. They are never the same as one you saw on television or on this show, particularly on television. They cut out a lot of stuff. So don't assume because we said something on this show or you saw it on TV that that's a rational thing to do. Yours will be different. And I have to comment, Don, once I had a guy call me also that I'm at home. He's a friend of mine. He called me because somebody was lurking outside his house.
Well, you're ex-law enforcement and the expert. Might as well line you up right away for his defense. That was good thinking.
Yeah, it's then flip the lights on so he knows you're awake and he'll go away, which he did. And call 911, which he didn't because the guy left, so what the hell? You know, and that he was clearly still in the neighborhood. He should have called 911, but whatever. Anyway, we're going to be right back after a brief word from some of our friends and associates. Hang on. Freestyle Martial Arts, located at 5693 South Jones, right at the corner of Russell Road. My friend Goker runs that studio. They train UFC fighters. They have classes for children, adults, old folks like me. You can reach them at 702-551-9009. That's 702-551-9009. CCS Gunsmithing is run by my good friend Chris Eifelt. He runs the NRA, Friends of the NRA dinners. He's on Rainbow and Sahara. You can reach him, a fine gunsmith, at 702-365-1732. That's 702-365-1732. Next is Attorney Jerry Creed. Jerry, the slide will tell you that he does estate planning and all that, which he does. He's here because he also does firearms trusts, particularly Class 3 trusts. If you own a lot of guns or any Class 3 firearms that you wish to pass on to your heirs, you need to talk to Jerry to make sure your will or your trust is up to date. It changes by the minute. He's at 702-806-7777. That's 702-806-7777. And we are back. This next story comes to us from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, a reporter named Catlin Newberg. This took place on Halloween, October 31st. I want to digress just a minute. If you live in Las Vegas or anywhere in Southern Nevada and you don't subscribe to the Review-Journal, you need to do that. When you're a subscriber, they have a wonderful website that is included that you can pick up and search all these stories and look at them and related stories and so on. They're really good. The subscriptions are not cheap, but they give you all the information. And a couple of times they've missed my paper. It's gone into the rain gutter or something. And I simply pull up the paper on the internet and there it is. You know, I'm going to read it anyway with my little hand computer sitting on the breakfast table. So it works out. It's a great place. It's also owned by the Sands Corporation, which is very supportive of conservative causes. So there's a second reason there. Anyway, on Halloween night, a security officer was patrolling the Tamarisk Park Apartments, which is near Maryland Parkway and Flamingo Road, if you're familiar with the area in Las Vegas. He observed an individual who he had previously trespassed. That's a legal warning that returning to the property would subject the uninvited person to an arrest. If you formally trespass him and read him this statement, if you come back, you know, whatever, it's a crime. The Metropolitan Police Department Lieutenant Ken Nogle said that the trespasser then drove toward the security officer. The security officer then fired at the oncoming vehicle. There's obviously a lot of things you're visualizing here which we don't have yet, because we don't know the layout of the area and so forth. The security officer called 911 to report the shooting just past 8 p.m. This is right when it happened. The suspect then drove himself to a local hospital, apparently to be treated for his gunshot wound. Little side note here, medical providers always call the police when a patient shows up with a gunshot wound. No matter how brilliant your story is about how you shot yourself or you got poked with a pool cue, they can recognize gunshot wounds in emergency rooms. They do that all day, and they are going to call the cops. In any case, the men's injuries are reported as not life-threatening. Detectives were interviewing both the trespasser and the security officer on Thursday night, and that's all we really have on this. As I said, just happened as we wrote this outline. As a tactical matter, firing at an oncoming vehicle is less effective than simply stepping out of the way, if that's possible given the layout of this incident. A moving car with a driver that is not in control because you shot him or he's ducked and he can't see where he's going usually presents a serious danger to bystanders, again, because we don't know the area. That may or may not have been true in this case, but trust me, the foot-pounds of energy that your bullet has is not sufficient to stop the foot-pounds of energy that a moving vehicle has. It won't do any good to stopping the vehicle. It's a waste of time. Anyway, that being said, the victim here, the security officer, certainly had a right to defend his own life from what appears to be, from the reports, a deadly attack. Don Green.
Okay, notice that the officer was protecting himself. This wasn't somebody he saw trying to, checking door handles and telling him to stop and then shooting him. The vehicle was being driven directly at him, if we assume everything which the officer says is true. Let's look at the civil ramifications which the defendant's family is going to file with their lawyer, because they're definitely going to file a lawsuit against the security company, the security officer, or the apartments. Did he have time to call 911? Hey, there's a crazy guy in the parking lot coming at me. Did the guy have the right to carry that weapon? Was it because in Nevada you need an armed security officer card? You can't just be a security officer and carry weapons in Nevada. That used to be 40 years ago, but not today. So do we have that? Second, let's take this as an average citizen on the parking lot at Target. I'm using Target because Target is a national known store, not because there was a shooting at Target last week where they ran in. Did they run in the store and then someone ran out shooting?
Yep.
It's insane. Can't even go to Target in the early morning. I mean, 11 o'clock in the morning without getting shot. So, no offense to Target, but the thing is that suppose that you're walking out of Target with your children and you can hear the engine gunning on a vehicle coming towards you, and there's a lady with this crazed look on her face. Well, is she crazy, or is her baby in the back of the seat choking to death and she's trying to get to the hospital? And you shoot the lady, car crashes into those large round concrete balls at Target, and the baby dies. Are you responsible for not only murder of the mother, but manslaughter because you caused the death of the child, although not intentional? So these are things which are going to happen in a millisecond. There's no amount of training that you could ever get as the representative citizen on the street. There's no amount of training that you could ever get that's going to prepare you for these. So what do? You watch these shows, you go to training. Will videos help? Yes, but there's nothing like going out and training like with some of the sponsors on Bob's show. Maggie Morgall, she's got an indoor range for like a house, outdoor range, and many of the other places here in town. Frontside out in Pahrump, Combat Tactical Academy, which uses various locations. Battlefield Vegas. These are all important in your location, in your area, and in Nevada in particular, and California to limited extent. You've got to go and do some training. I'm not talking about going to a combat range like paintballs, like Hans Gruber did in the movie Die Hard. Answer, no. But go to some training and train as often as you possibly can. Train with the weapon you're going to use. And look at these situations.
All right. Hang on now for a brief word from some of our friends and associates once again. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Attorney Don Green, who is a regular on this show, as most of you know, specializes in gun litigation, firearms law, firearms license denials, things like that, and defense in firearms accusation cases. You can reach Don at 702-409-8239. That's his cell phone, 24 hours, 702-409-8239. That's Don Green, attorney at law. And Maggie Mordaunt. Maggie, you can find her to start with by just searching CCW Maggie, M-A-G-G-I-E. Maggie is the firearms instructor extraordinaire. She teaches all sorts of classes. She trains instructors. She teaches at the county range here in Clark County. Great instructor, an NRA certified everything. I've known her forever and ever. You can reach her at 702-375-5900. That's 702-375-5900. And Ricardo's, my favorite watering hole. They're located at Flamingo and Decatur here in Las Vegas, Nevada. The owner's name is Bob, so tell Bob sent you. You can reach them at 702-227-9100. That's 702-227-9100. They have banquet facilities and electronic stuff available for clubs and meetings and so forth, and you will love the food. Battlefield Vegas, the new home for being associated with Fired Up, is located directly behind Circus Circus right off the Las Vegas Strip. It is the most amazing place you will ever find for firearms to shoot in their range. You can shoot a minigun in there. They have all sorts of high-powered machine guns and so forth. At their outdoor facility, they rent tanks. You can actually crush a car with a tank. I couldn't explain this place in the 30 seconds I've given myself here. You must try going by Battlefield Vegas. You will find them at battlefieldvegas.com. And we are back. Multiple media and the New York Post actually is the story I pulled mostly from the New York Post, but I got 6 or 8 references on this thing. Reported November 4th in Lithia, Florida, 2 intruders entered a couple's home last week and pistol whipped the husband while violently grabbing their daughter, according to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. The husband told Bay News 9 that they came, that's Tampa Bay, Bay News 9, that they came in wearing hoods and masks. As soon as they had gotten the back door open, they held a pistol on him and grabbed his 11-year-old daughter. The true intruders entered with handguns. This is a little repetition here, this is all happening at once. So they entered with handguns and beat down the husband. He got a fractured eye socket, fractured sinus cavity, concussion, 20 stitches in his face, and 3 staples in the back of his head from a head wound. The robbers pistol whipped the husband and kicked him while the man's wife, who is 8 months pregnant, retreated into the bedroom. She grabbed an AR-15 and returned and used it to shoot one of the home intruders. The second suspect ran out. As of this report, he is still outstanding. They haven't found him yet. Side note here, when you shoot at people, they tend to run out of your house, particularly with an AR-15. The police said in a press conference that responding officers found the first invader dead, lying in a nearby ditch. The homeowner said he took a severe beating, but credited his wife for saving him. We all have to agree. The husband added that the invaders came in with 2 pistols and my AR stopped it. This is quoting the husband. His wife was able to even the playing field and keep them from killing him. The sheriff's office added the firearm was in the home legally, which could be an issue other places, obviously. There are many occasions each week where modern military rifles are used, even in the field, against multiple attackers. I applaud the New York Post for writing this story, putting out this story. I'm not really sure they did it as a pro-gun story, but it worked out that way because when they put this out, and here we have a quote, assault weapon being used in home defense, its characteristics in lightweight and ease of operation and so forth saved the day. It happens all the time. And I'm really happy they put this story out. Mr. Green.
Thank you. One of the most important points of this example is Bob's research into extraordinary cases which have possibly a national impact. Bob usually picks these stories out very, very carefully after spending dozens and dozens of hours. Anyway, the thing is that this thing happened about 144 hours ago, prior to perhaps the filming, depending on the time here. But this was November 4th of 2019, several days ago. Number 1, men, hoods, pistol whip, and grab the 11-year-old daughter. Were these people targeted? Possibly. Number 2, the wife is 8 months pregnant. Number 3, as they're beating the husband, eye socket fractured, she retrieves an AR-15. Number 4, the invaders came in with the pistols. So, where was the area? The area is Florida, and Bob notes that the firearm, according to the police, was in the home legally. Now, what's the significance of my first? Okay. Anyway, so you can see that these are very brazen attacks that are just going to occur at any time, anywhere.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
We have some goof-ups here getting the show started right, and we ran out of time right in the middle. So I want to thank you all for watching Fired Up. We will be back next week at 5 p.m. on Thursday. We've got some gun shows upcoming we'll be announcing next week. Thank you for watching Fired Up. Thanks for your support. Thank you, Don.
Thank you.